How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another amazing episode of Life Made Easy. Today we have my final thoughts on the iPhone 7. I know I'm not recording this on my S9. I'm doing this on my webcam in OBS, so sorry about that. I just thought I would do my closing thoughts on here and then edit it in Sony Vegas. So once again, thank you to the channel members on the channel, Tracy Markley and the Titanium Ninja. I'll put their names up on screen right here. So guys, go subscribe to them, and if you want to become a channel member, just click the join button down below. Also, shout out to College Made Easy Podcast, uploading twice a week on there. Awesome, amazing content. Go check it out. Highly recommend it. We also have a merch store with Tim's face on shirts. So yeah, let's get into my closing thoughts on the iPhone 7 as a whole and iOS as a whole. Coming from an Android user in 2020. I have a lot to say in this episode, but I'm going to keep it brief. If you want to go hear my thoughts on the things I'm going to be talking about in this episode in more depth, go check out the previous videos. Went into a lot more depth on each aspect of the device. So let's start off this episode with iOS as a whole. Very basic operating system. I will say that right up front. Rid of apps, icons, no customization, but it's going to change with iOS 14. The one thing that's sort of nice, but I've never used, are the widgets on the left-hand side. If you swipe over to the left on the home screen, you get widgets, which I've never used, and they're kind of pointless. You may disagree with me, but I think widgets are honestly going to be way more improved in iOS 14. I really hope so. Let's talk about crashing apps. Happens on Android sometimes. Not a lot, sometimes. I'd say Android operating systems like One UI and my Samsung S9, really great, spot on, limited app crashes, but they do happen occasionally. iOS only had one, literally only one app crash out of all the days I've been using this device, going on 2 weeks now. So that's great. The fact that I don't have that many app crashes. Loading times on apps, stellar, not as quick as my S9 just because that processor is slightly above the A10 Fusion chip, which is in this device. Also, if you're seeing this right here, you're seeing Tim, I'm physically made of money. That's on a t-shirt on College Made Easy Teespring shop store thing. Go pick it up. Go subscribe to our podcast. Awesome shirt, awesome design. I made that one myself. I'm proud of that. So iOS as a whole, it's smooth. Animations are smooth. I do wish you could adjust the animations. I'm not sure if you can do that on Android. I did not discover any feature you could do that, but the control center is also really seamless. I enjoy the control center. Just not as much customization as it is on Android. But it's fine. It does the trick. I think the brightness slider and the volume slider were honestly the most important things that I used. Maybe like the music player / video player. It is nice though. I don't really like the notifications on iOS. They kind of suck. Android is way better. I will say that. This whole like double swiping thing is just so stupid. Like, why do I have to keep double swiping on Android? It's one swipe gone. Stupid. But it can be improved in future updates. It is kind of nice if you just want to search for something on your device. You just swipe down. There's a search bar. Type in whatever you want. I don't know why iOS is so invested in this like blur effect for everything. You can even up it in settings, like the amount of transparency on your device. Like, there's blurring literally everywhere on this device. I don't know if they do that because it's a 720p display, which I'll get into next. But a lot of blurring, like when you open up the control center, everything's blurred in the background. They do a nice job on it for an IPS panel, I will say. But iOS as a whole, it's solid. Do I like Android better? Yeah. I'm going to say right here, yeah. I still like Android better. I don't like iOS as much. There's more features on Android, which I like, more customization. That's me. You may have a differing opinion. Leave it in the comment section down below. If you would like to argue, I'd be happy to argue Android versus iOS. Because here's one thing I like about this experiment. When you're making an argument about which type of device is better, iOS or operating system, or maybe a company as a whole, Samsung, iOS, Google, iOS, Apple, whatever, you have to use both. If you sit here and make an argument, you better have used both. I think when you have just used one sort of device, your argument's entirely false at that point, because you're coming from an ignorant standpoint. You don't know what the other brand or other device is like. I've used both now. Granted, this is an older iPhone, so I haven't experienced. I haven't had the full experience of iOS with the gestures and stuff. I understand that. But I think this gives me a good enough idea about what iOS entails. I've used both Android and iOS now. I can say for sure I like Android operating system better, even though I don't even have the latest software on my S9, which is really annoying, and I really wish Samsung would get on that with unlock. So that's my 2 cents on that. Yeah, updates on this are also great. Latest software is getting iOS 14, maybe 15, maybe even 16. Screen quality, mediocre. Up the contrast on it immediately. That changed everything. There's like no contrast on this device out of the box. It sucks. I don't know why. True to life colors, maybe? I don't know. I mean, like, I mean, it's like, give me some saturation and contrast. That's what the human eye likes. So I turned up, increased the contrast on the device. It helped a lot with watching content on YouTube. I like those. I mean, granted, it doesn't help with saturation that much, but improved contrast is always better with like deeper blacks and brighter whites, stuff like that. Screen quality at 720p, not that sharp, but watching content, I got used to it over time. To go along with screen quality, speakers are actually pretty good on here, not as good as the S9. They sound a little distant, if that makes any sense. Little tinniness at the higher volumes. I did mention that in a previous episode, but overall size of the device, amazing size. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 on size. Even though it has a small screen, the compactness of the device is amazing. Makes my S9 feel big and clunky, which it's not. I would have thought I'd miss the curved screen, but I actually didn't. And the bezels actually help when watching content and not actually like interfering with touching or accidental touches on the display, which is cool. Overall size of the device, amazing. I'm kind of leaning towards getting smaller devices going forward in the future. I do not like overly sized devices at this point. iMessage, FaceTime, they're amazing. I will say, coming from an Android user, they're really nice. Sending text messages, the whole messaging app is just fantastic. It's better than Android. Google, I'm going to get on you about this. Why have you not made a seamless app that works across all Android devices that you can send non-SMS messages over Wi-Fi? Have amazing GIFs, however you want to say it. Make it really seamless. Sending messages is quick. Having group chats is really easy. And Apple, why do you not allow iMessage on Android? Just like you just want to have that one app that no other operating system has, and it's smart. It really is smart that they have that. Like they have a monopoly on iMessage and FaceTime. No one else can have it. Like it's patented at this point. I really wish they would release to the public and other operating systems, but they're not going to. But it's great. I've been using FaceTime on this. It does heat up my phone quite a bit, but this has an older A10 Fusion processor, so that's probably why. Maybe on newer devices it doesn't heat up the device as much, but FaceTime and iMessage do drain your battery a lot, FaceTime especially, so just keep that in mind. Camera on this, I haven't taken that many photos. Colors seem a little muted. I'm sure the cameras on newer iPhones are much better than this one, but selfies are average. Rear-facing camera, slightly above average. I mean, like, it's nothing to brag about. Shutter speed is probably the best aspect I can really talk about here. Click the button, takes a photo instantly. No real like blurriness with the shutter. Really quick like that. Nighttime photos, didn't really get too much of a chance to test that out. I'm sorry, but main thing on here is video. Video quality is really good. Overall, 1080p, 60, amazing. Can also do 4K, 30. No issues with the video. I don't know if it's better than my S9. It's kind of hard to tell. But charging speeds, kind of like a little slow, but like it's not as slow as I thought actually. Coming from an S9 with like fast charge 2.0, wasn't that bad. Kind of get used to it, and that's kind of the main theme of this review of the iPhone 7 or iOS in general. It's like get used to the lousy or negative aspects of the device. Charging speed is definitely one of them. It takes a lot longer than quick charge. But when it comes to battery, I mean, that's like the opposite side of the spectrum here. Battery's okay. As I said, FaceTime and iMessage consume a lot of it, but like scrolling through apps and stuff, watching YouTube especially. YouTube seems really optimized on iOS. I don't know why, but battery life is a I'd give it like a B minus. It's not bad. It's not like in C territory. It's not as good as my S9, but for a small device like this, 1900 milliamp hours, I think it is roughly. Pretty good job of battery life. It lasted me like throughout the day, and if I wasn't using it heavily, could get a day and a half out of it. I know you can check all the screen on time in settings and stuff like that. If I go to mine here, does it show me? I don't. Give me one sec. So it is saying that the daily average is 5 hours and 42 minutes. That's actually stellar. I didn't check that till now. But yeah, I mean, most of my time is on YouTube and TikTok, which TikTok is getting banned apparently, which is kind of sad about that. I'm not into the whole cringy dance thing, but like I just like the Star Wars memes, you know what I'm saying? But 5 hours and 42 minutes of screen on time, you can see right there. That's pretty solid. Appreciate that, Apple, for how optimized your chips are and your operating system is. iOS versus, last thing I want to talk about, iOS versus Android as a whole. Guys, I feel like the debate's over at this point. They're becoming the same operating system over and over time. If you see what iOS is doing in their 14 version, it's like adding widgets. They're becoming Android, and Android's slowly becoming iOS with its simplicity. Like Android's getting more simplistic over time, and iOS is getting more complex over time. It's like we're gonna like meet eventually, right? And it's gonna be like the same operating system practically. So I feel like the debate's over at this point. Android still has more customization, which I do like, which is why I'm gonna still favor that. But iOS is getting more complex, and I argue, and I said this in another one of my videos, it is harder to find stuff on iOS sometimes. People complain that Android's too complicated. It's not. Android's extremely easy to use. My grandparents have Android devices. They know how to use them perfectly fine. And iOS can have some issues. I hate iCloud. I hate iTunes, like your Apple account. I hate all that crap. Google accounts are so much better. Google apps are more optimized on Android, which I will say, but I do still use them on here. Safari kind of sucks. Chrome is 10 times better. I could go on, but they're becoming more similar over time, and I think people need to accept that. So guys, I know I rambled a lot in this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll get back into mixing some more PC videos because I know you guys have been wanting to see those on this channel. I appreciate all the support on my recent content. Sorry I've been away. I've been working a lot. I haven't had the time for YouTube. Trying to get motivated and stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, hit the bell, like, share it with your friends. Subscribe to the College Made Easy podcast link below. That's my podcast I do about helping students succeed in college. I'll see you guys in the next video from Life Made Easy.